we are all aware that this month is a month for the International Women. So we have an awesome gift for all the beautiful women on this call. And for the men also, you are not left out, trust me. You have something that you can pass on to your sisters, your friends, your girlfriends, your wives. So hang on with me on this call. I promise it's going to be an interesting session. Just follow through with me. And by the end of this session, I'm going to bring out the gifts that I have for the women, and of course, the men that are here that to share with their women. All right, so about Analytics, you're joining for the first time again, just type in a 1 on your location. So Analytics, oh, someone is joining from Zimbabwe, nice, welcome. So Analytics is an edtech, educational technology company, and our mission, our purpose is helping Africans and people of the Black community learn premium tech skills by lowering the entry barrier into tech. Yeah. Over the years, we've helped people build capacity and understanding across various tech fields, including data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, Scrum, cybersecurity, and coming soon, AI engineering. So our facilitators are seasoned professionals from different sectors and reputable organizations, including Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey and Company, Amazon, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, Sahara Group, and the likes. Our courses are structured in a way that they are practical and they ensure that you get the optimal value for your time spent and also for the money paid. So more about Analytics. Analytics was founded by Adeza Suleiman and Ifemena Ipo. Adeza Suleiman is a data analytics expert. He's a data science consultant in the UK, US, data analyst, business performance in Sahara Group before he moved on to work with as a consultant in data science in the UK and the US. He has personally trained over 8,500 participants from the beginning of his career to date. It might interest you to know that Adeza did not have any background in data in the tech ecosystem. He's actually, he actually had his first degree in industrial chemistry. And you can imagine, how do you go from industrial chemistry to becoming a data analyst? That's one important thing I would like to note in this conversation, meaning your background, where you're coming from in terms of your professional background, has nothing to do with your transitioning into tech. That's one of the best things about the tech ecosystem. The tech ecosystem doesn't care about where you're coming from. It's more concerned about what you're willing to deep dive in and learn and where you're going to. Then quickly to Efemina Ipo. He's also a data science contractor in the UK, US. He has worked as a business data support lead in the UK Post Office. He's a global business system analyst at Teleflex Ireland. He also had over a decade experience across multiple industries. Also, he has his first degree as an economist before transitioning into tech about a decade ago. So quickly, sorry, I missed one here. Okay, so my name is Olawale Adeshino. I'm the Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer at Analytics. I have close to 8 years experience in digital marketing. 2 years ago, I transitioned into data analytics, basically because I understood how data has become the backbone for almost any profession that you find yourself. So I literally able to merge my knowledge as a professional data analyst with my previous knowledge as a marketer, digital marketer. So presently, as a CMSO of Analytics, I'm able to gather data and help to use that data to make informed decisions. I've worked as an independent consultant with various companies in France, Turkey, UK, US, Germany, Kenya, and most recently, Ghana. I have a certified professional in digital marketing in Ireland, I've worked across various industries in health, tech, fintech, travel and tourism, real estate. I've worked for personal brands. I've worked for some individuals in government, and also most recently in a software development company. Joining me will be Chibuike Nwoke. He's going to run you through how to build your pipeline, just give you an overview, give you an hint of some of the things you'll be learning in class if you decide to go ahead and join one of our courses as a data professional. So now, on this course, like I said, first we'll go through, I'm going to show you a brief introduction into the various career paths to consider if you are thinking of transitioning into tech. My colleague is going to come in and build a first ETL pipeline using the Google Cloud platform. That is to show you, again, what your journey in class was going to look like. What are the things you would learn? And I must make you understand that most of the things you'll be doing, they are always project-based. Most of our courses are project-based. Let me not run ahead of myself. I'm going to deep dive more into that later on in the session. And finally, like I mentioned, I'm going to show you some success stories, students that have passed through Analytics. We have a plethora of students that have transitioned from our classrooms to their first job in the tech ecosystem. We have had people come from a career in law, in medicine, as care workers, some has been even stay-at-home moms transitioning into tech, and some lots of stories to share with you. And most importantly, like I said, for all the women on this call, I have a discount for you for International Women's Day. It's something we do just once in a year, meaning for one cohort out of the 12 cohorts we have every year, for one cohort, and so you're lucky to be in that cohort, which is the April cohort coming next month. So wait till the end of this conversation, and I'm going to share that discount with you, and you should take advantage of it quickly. Also, for the men, don't feel left out. We are going to share some with you also, but we are limited to the amount of men that can enjoy this discount. But it would be nice if you can share this with your sisters, your friends, your girlfriends, your wives, and any female around you that you think would enjoy this. So I'll move quickly to what are the careers in tech that you should be looking at. So we all know by now, for you to be on this call, you've probably seen an ad, somebody probably told you about analytics, and you feel you need to be here to listen to what we have to say. The honest truth is tech is an increasingly attractive career path for graduates and for career switchers alike. It's a common knowledge that tech is one of the ecosystems where people can come in from wherever they are, whatever it is they are doing before. Like I said, we've had lawyers, we've had doctors come to our classes and then transition to become a data engineer, become a data analyst and the likes. So the tech ecosystem is very unique. You can't just wake up tomorrow and say you want to be a doctor in 4 months. You can't wake up tomorrow and say you want to be a pilot in 6 months. Yeah, it takes time and a lot of study, a lot of dedication to get to that. But then with the tech ecosystem, it's so flexible such that with the right mentorship, with the right knowledge, you can actually shorten that journey. Yeah, for our co-founders, for instance, they had to do probably close to 5-6 years before they transition from wherever they are coming from to become solid professionals in the data ecosystem, in the tech ecosystem. Yeah, but then they thought everybody doesn't have to go through that route of 4 or 5 years. Yeah, we can actually design a program, yeah, where people can make this happen in a very short period of time. It's something that has been done in various parts of the world. Indians have done it in terms of helping people from their background to be able to transition into tech quickly by shortening the amount of knowledge, giving them the right mentorship and the likes. That's what we are also trying to do for people in the Black community, people in Africa, or Africans in the diaspora, helping you to transition into tech as quickly as possible with the right mentorship. Yeah, mentorship and also structured programs that are project-based, case study-based, such that you are not beating about the bush in terms of what you need to learn to transition into tech. So I'll run quickly through why you should be thinking about a career in tech. Because one point I have here is that there is the great work-life balance and flexibility. Yeah, most people that work in the tech ecosystem will tell you they work remotely or they have the hybrid structure. Yeah, because it allows for you to do that. Analytics have teams distributed in Nigeria, different states in Nigeria, in the UK and in Canada. That's where our teams are. We're all working remotely. And personally, I've not stepped in the office for a full day since 2020, since COVID-19. And of course, I've even had instances of remote work way before COVID-19. In 2015, when I started my career, I joined now Jumia. Then we had Kemu, Lamudi, Kamudi, Elo Food, and the likes. When I joined them then, yes, I would leave my house and go to the office at Yaba. I don't know if you know Yaba in Lagos. I'll go to the office at Yaba, but I was actually reporting to a team in France. Yeah, I wasn't working with my teammates or my colleagues at the office then. I was reporting and working daily with a team in France. So I've had an instance of remote work literally then. But then from 2020 till this moment, I can tell you I have not spent one full week in the office. If I go to anything that looks like an office, it's probably a workstation or a co-working space. So my point is, the tech ecosystem offers that flexibility for you to be able to have a great balance between work and have your life in balance also by giving people more freedom and flexibility to make their job fit their life. About 2 weeks ago, I was working from Ibadan. Yeah. This week I'm back in Lagos. Tomorrow I can decide to go to Port Harcourt. So far I have internet, so far I have my laptop, I'm good to go and work from anywhere. So another interesting fact about why you should think about job in the tech ecosystem is because of the growing job opportunities. IT jobs account for 25.55% share of the global technology industry hiring in November 2022. Now, I'm going to show you what the future of job is going to look like in the tech ecosystem, especially from this moment onward to like 2027. There is a report by the World Economic Forum that is released talking about jobs that are going to literally dwindle away over time, and the ones that the demand for them are definitely going to increase. I'm going to show you that in a moment. But before we get there, just letting you know that there are growing opportunities in the tech ecosystem. So far, the internet keeps growing. Now we have the advent of AI. The information age hasn't even been tapped totally. And now the information age, the AI also, everything is now being linked back into the industrial era. And again, Africa is still trying to gain ground in some of these things as a continent, and again also as individuals on a global stage. So there is an enormous lot of opportunities there for you that's open out there for you to latch on. The next here is that you don't even have to have a tech-related degree to become a tech professional. Yeah, Adeza, like I mentioned, he was an industrial chemist. Efemina was an economist. Our COO is a chief accountant before transitioning to tech. Yes, I had a background related to tech, but to be honest, I wouldn't lie to you. Everything I know about the tech ecosystem, I learned after my university days. Yes, I have a degree in computer science, yeah, but I didn't learn anything related to science school. It was more like just go to school, write notes, come back, and all of that. Imagine in a class of like 1,000 students that you are learning C++. Who even does C++ anymore now? My point is, I learned everything I know in the tech ecosystem after I graduated from university. So your degree in the university has nothing to do with you transitioning into the tech ecosystem. Like I said, I'm going to share you stories of Temi, who was a lawyer transitioning to become a business analyst. So your degree or where you're coming from doesn't really matter. I have a friend who works with Andela. the guy literally does not have any first degree yet as of now, but he's a senior back-end engineer with Andela, working with global brands as a senior software developer. But like I said, he's just writing, he's studying right now on Coursera, trying to get a degree with a university in the UK. And that is taking him, like he's taking his time to get that done. Meaning it's something he can pause at any time, come back. It might take another 10 years before he finishes that. But he's already making good money as a tech professional, even without a degree. So your degree has nothing to do with you transitioning into tech, just so you have that in mind. And that's one of the interesting things about the tech ecosystem. Another thing is the fantastic salary and benefits. Yeah, it is in the tech ecosystem, you will see companies that have solid benefits for their staff. Some companies even go as far as making sure you have some level of equity in the tech ecosystem, in the company, in the startup, for instance. You see people starting up, joining a startup, and before you know it, as the startup grows, as they receive funding and all of that, they also get something also drops into their pockets just by literally being a part of that startup. So a startup that starts and that you joined maybe a year ago, after 2 years, they make good numbers, and someone somewhere, an investor somewhere decides to splash some good money on them. It falls back on the staff also, or the members of the team in terms of equity and the likes. So the salary is good, yeah, but then also there are a lot of other benefits that are attached to working with the tech ecosystem. So lastly is the fact that you get to work at the art of innovation and change. Yeah, things are happening fast, things are growing fast, everything is getting more tech inclined. Working in the tech ecosystem means you are the forefront of change, you are the forefront of innovation, you are going to be solving problems creatively, you're working alongside brilliant minds. I talk about a project I worked on recently where a doctor decided that, okay, he noticed that people find it difficult to come to the hospital to talk about sexual health related diseases or mental health related diseases. So he decided that, the people I work with then decided that, okay, can you help me design an app that people can actually talk to me from the comfort of their home, talk about their sexual health diseases, or talk about their sexual health issues, mental health issues over the phone, and then I can always send the prescription medication to them without them having to come at all to see me at the hospital. That way, that stigma that comes with having mental health issues or sexual health issues is able to eliminate that. Yeah, so the best part for me then is being part of the team that was able to build that product and how many lives that product is going to touch. So working in the tech ecosystem, meaning you're going to be at the art of innovation, awesome things are going to happen. Imagine how many apps are being used presently in the West, in UK, US, Canada, and the likes. We are still far away in Africa, in this part of the world. Imagine how many apps can still come up. Imagine how many technology can still be brought up that will change a lot of lives, that could bring about innovation in the power sector, in the health sector, in agriculture, and the like. So we are going to be at the art of innovation, working in the tech ecosystem. So quickly, I'll move on to where are the opportunities in tech? Yeah, so I said I was going to talk about this quickly. Once you get this slide, you can always go and download this report yourself, and don't just take my word for it. Look at it yourself and do some research. So the World Economic, yes.
Sorry, I sent you a message in the chat, please.
All right. Okay, in the chat, yeah, all right. Sorry about that. Right. So, Efemina, please have a chat with Chukwemeka. He's going to speak with you. All right, so sorry for that break in transmission. I'll just get quickly back to you. All right.
Hi, Olawale.
Yes.
Yeah, Chu is on the call. Yeah, he's on the call now, so he's going to lead the session. Okay.
All right, good.
All right.
So let me hand over to Chu then at this point, and let him continue from here. So Chu, can you please share your screen?
All right, thank you, Olawale. Hi, everyone. Everyone on the call, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're calling from. So I believe you've talked a lot about data engineering today. So I will just share my screen and let's just try to actually see what's really involved in data engineering. Just do a little bit of a walk around of what actually happens in data engineering. Just a moment, let me share my screen. Let me know when you get my screen. All right.
Yeah. I can see your screen. You can proceed.
All right. Can you navigate the slides to a case study? All right, yeah. So what we don't want to talk about today is, when it comes to data engineering, essentially, I'm sure you have heard about pipelines. Data engineering, you have to build different kinds of pipelines. You are moving data from one place to another place. So we just want to do a little, walk through of how you do these things, a typical case study on how you be able to do this on Google Cloud. So the example that we want to walk through today is just I know a lot of us enjoy football, right? And Fantastic Premier League is a very popular example of how
Hi,
people enjoy.
Chu, your audio is a little bit low. Can you just?
Is it better? Can you hear me better? Wenga?
Slightly better.
Okay, let me just change my microphone. All right, is it better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, yeah. So the case study we want to do is so you eventually register for analytics, right? And you do your data engineering course, and you get a job with this company ABC, and they really want to keep analyzing what goes on in Fantasy Premier League. So they have, we talk about APIs. APIs are part of the things that you will learn in the course, right? How do you extract data from different APIs all around the web? Here, big data these days, there's big data because every single place you're generating data. So APIs are part of how this data is accessible to different people all over the internet. So same with the Fantasy Premier League we are considering, they have an API, right? So you can always see a lot of information from there are different APIs. So your employer has asked you, that they want to be able to plug to the API, get the data from there to their database on Google Cloud so that they can analyze this data and be able to serve their clients. So this is really what we want to see, how you can get this done from start to finish. So that's a brief background of the case study that we'll be walking through.
Hi, Chu. You're not audible enough, please.
I think it's an issue in my mic. Is it better?
Slightly.
Okay. I've changed that to different microphones. So, right. So I was just saying that we'll try to get our hands a bit dirty and see how we can do this. So again, the task we're trying to achieve here is we're trying to implement a solution, a data engineering solution. You take basically you're updating a BigQuery table with the latest data that you have on your website. So, like, as you know, the data engineer, your entire job to get the latest data for your stakeholders, So in terms of the stack that we'll be using for this, essentially we'll start off with trying to get this data from the FPL API, the Fantasy Premier League API. So how do we get this? We are going to be getting this using Python. So that essentially represent our extract step, because everything we are doing is about building pipelines, building ETL pipelines. You hear a lot about ETL when you come to data engineering. The E is the extract, the T is the transform, and then the L is that you load it. So you basically want to extract data from somewhere. You want to do some transformation on this data, and then you want to load it somewhere. So the first part we'll be doing is doing our extracts. So we are going to be using Python to extract the data from the FPL API, and then we'll be putting that data on our Google Cloud storage. So that essentially represents our extract step. Next thing that we want to do is that we now want to do some transformation on this data and then actually load it somewhere. So in terms of the STEM tech stack that we'll be using to do that, we'll be using Data Fusion. So this is basically a Google Cloud offering that we'll use to transform that data and load it into our BigQuery, which is our, our target, that's our data warehouse. And then from the BigQuery, the analyst and whoever wants to use the data can plug from there and build their dashboards and their visualizations using whatever they want to use, Power BI, Looker, Tableau, whichever one that you prefer. And then a big part of data engineering is automation, because all of these things I've explained, you can do them manually if it's a one-time thing. But a lot of the data that you are moving in data engineering is a recurrent thing. Your stakeholders want to see this data every day or every week or on a particular schedule. So you want to automate this. So in data engineering, you call it orchestration. How do you orchestrate it? So all this data extraction, transformation, and loading from my API up until my BigQuery, I will want to automate it. I want to orchestrate it with my Cloud Composer or Airflow. Cloud Composer is basically just a managed Airflow. So that is how I will, automate all of these steps, so that after every week, after every game week, this is triggered automatically and the new data arrives for the analysts on BigQuery data warehouse. So that is just a little bit about the tech stack that you'd be using to achieve this. So if you notice, every one of these tech stack, the cloud storage, the data fusion, the BigQuery, they basically stack on Google Cloud. So when you get into the program, you're going to be introduced to like all of the different stacks that you find on different platforms. So if you're talking about the Amazon Cloud, there are different offerings that you find on Amazon Cloud. If you're talking about the Azure Cloud, there are different offerings that you find on Azure Cloud. But based on fundamentals, every single one of these different tech stack tries to do that same thing. You extract data, you transform data, you load data. So there will be slight differences between how each of these stacks do the same task, but the bottom line is always the same. I'm extracting data, I'm transforming data, and I am loading data somewhere. So let's just get started off, right? The first part that we will try to do is we'll actually try to load this data, extract this data from the API, and then load it somewhere. So stop sharing this. So I'll be using the VSCode for this. Essentially, a lot of you might have been introduced to a VSCode. This is basically just a code editor where I can write my Python scripts. So I'm going to start off with already created folder. Basically my environment where I write my code. So this is a Python environment now, and I'm going to write some code that is going to extract data from the API, which is the Fantasy Premier League API. So I can just demonstrate that. So you might ask, how do you actually know this API? APIs are all over the internet, right? If you do a simple Google search of Fantasy Premier League API, it will give you a link of where this API is and a bit of the documentation on how you can use this API. So I will just do a simple demonstration. All right, so this is one of those APIs, right? This is basically an endpoint for an API. So if you look at the data, so basically I can just leave this, and this is just one of the APIs that we want to get data. So essentially this is an API that gives us just the latest data and the just game that has completed. So if you actually did a Google search about this Fantasy Premier League API, it's going to give you a whole lot of different endpoints available. So as you can see, I'm just calling an endpoints of the current game week and then the live results. So there are different other endpoints that this API offers you. Endpoints are basically where a particular data is stored. So assuming I was looking for data on a particular game week, assuming I was looking for the very first game week, I could be loading the very first game week and I get that data. Assuming I was looking for data on say fixtures, there's a different endpoint for fixtures. So what I'm trying to explain at this point is that this really depends on what you want to do. So whatever data you want to get, there's a particular API out there that you can use. But for our use case, we're just trying to get the data for this particular game week that was just concluded, which is this 27. So this is API that we'll be using. So all of this data is what we are trying to extract from this particular API that Fantasy Premier League offers us, and that's what we want to load into our Google Cloud storage. So I will just copy this and go back to my code. When it comes to the Python code, Python is one of them very big programming languages that you use in data engineering. So throughout the course, you're going to be introduced to different concepts in Python. So a lot of the codes I'm going to write, if you're really a beginner with Python, it might seem like what are you writing? But with constant practice and guidance, these things are just become a lot easier. So when it comes to Python, a lot of the things that we do, we use libraries. So I'm going to have to import a few libraries that will help me achieve the task I want to achieve. So what is the task I'm trying to achieve here? I'm trying to write an extract script, a script that will extract data from that API that you just saw, and then load it for me into my Google Cloud storage. So I will need to import requests. It's one of the libraries I need. And I will import pandas as well. So pandas as BD. So I'll just call my URL, right? My URL is this particular URL that we want to, this is basically the API that we want to call. So I will actually make the API call. So making the API call is, I'm expecting a response from this API. So I'll store it as a response variable. And I will just use my requests, the get method from my request. And I want to get it from this URL. So this is how you make an API call to that particular website. And I'll basically just try to print which the status code I get. So if I'm sure a lot of us know what status code is, when you try to browse a website, you could see error 404, 545, 544, all of those different errors. So those are the responses you get when you have an error. Well, if your response, if you actually get a response, if there's no error, you are going to be expecting status code of 200. So every time you make a request, I'm going to be looking out for the status code for 200. So essentially, what have I done now? I've made a request to this URL. This is essentially the very first step in my extract step. I'm extracting that data from where it lives, which is the API, to my Python environment. So how do I do that? I use my request library and I make an API call to that particular URL.
Shu, please, if you can speak up a bit more. Nice.
I'll try. Yeah, so again, I'm just summarizing what I've done in this particular step. I'm saying the first step in the pipeline I want to build is the extract step. And when you come to the extract step, the very first thing I need to do is that I need to actually try to bring that data from where it lives, which is this API, to my Python environment. So how do I do that? I'm making a request to that API. So that is this my request.get. So I'm getting that data from where it lives, and I just want to see the status code. Status code is, I want to see the status of my request. Was it successful? So if I run this particular one and I get status 200, I know it was successful. So yeah, we'll just try that. Let's run the code that we have now and see what it gets. So our request was not successful. Let's confirm our API again. We actually need to put the full part of the API. So if you go back to website again, we need to add the HTTP part as well to the API. So we did not add this part. So let me just copy the full URL now. So because it's a website, we have to add the HTTP part to it. So let's try this again. It's trying to extract our data now. Let's see. So we actually get our status code of 200. So we know that we actually got our request. So that represents the very first step. We're fine. We've been able to extract the data from where it lives into our Python environment. So what we need to do next is, just like you saw in this particular API, right? This data is not really in the format that we want. It's difficult to actually look at this and begin to see any reasonable data from it. It's a lot. So we want to actually, do some kind of clean it up and extract particular data that we want before we can go ahead and load it into our Google Cloud storage. So that's what we do next in our code. For us to actually begin to do that, so let's just try to look at our response in a JSON, because you can see that it's a JSON data type. So data types, again, is a very important part in the data engineering journey. You are going to be learning a lot of different kinds of data types, from the common ones that the CSV files, the TXT files, Excel files, to the Package files, JSON files. So different files you'll be introduced to when you get into data engineering. So this one that we just looked at now looks like a JSON file. So we'll actually try to exploit it using the JSON file method. So the next thing we want to do is that I just want to see that our data is response.json. So basically just converting this to a JSON format, and we might want to see what's in our data. So we may run this one.
So we actually see all of those files in our JSON. So essentially JSON is just like a dictionary in a dictionary. So going ahead, you're going to learn a lot of different methods in your JSON files. So essentially what we want to do is that if you look at the structure of our JSON, you're going to see that they are basically key value pairs. So there are keys and there are values. So a key can be a particular player and then all of the scores that they have, or a particular event that has happened. So the JSON file is basically structured in keys and values. So when you actually get into Python, you learn a lot about the JSON structure. For now, I'll just give you the code that you can use to just extract all of this from the different parts that we want from that data. So let me just copy out the code that we will be using. Essentially, we just have these are the data that we want to extract. We want to extract the player IDs. We want to extract the goals that the player scored, the goals considered, yellow cards, red cards, bonus points, total points. So these are just a sample of the data we want to extract from all of this. But I believe there's a lot more data here. So because this is a demo, we just want to extract a couple of data from it so we can show what we want to show. So again, I will not actually try to look through all of this data and extract this data I want for each of these players. So again, this is all Python syntax. Basically, just want to say that here, this is a just my data now. Yeah, so basically, I just want to look through, like I said, there are key value pairs in your JSON file. So there's an elements pair, and I basically just want to look through the elements and extract this particular data I want to extract. So that's about that. And then I want to convert this to what you call the pandas data frame and actually see that data frame. So extracting my data, the next thing I want to do is actually just go ahead and convert it to a pandas data frame. So when I'm done converting this to a pandas data frame, I will want to actually convert this to a CSV file, because it's this CSV file that we've actually show that we've completed our extract step. So this CSV file I'm saving it as a player performance, player perf. And then once we create this CSV file, we've actually completed extracting data from that API and then loading it into keeping or saving it as a CSV file. So that CSV file is what we are now going to go ahead and load into our Google Cloud storage. So let's try this and see if we're fine. So now we'll this. Yeah, so we are fine. Actually, you can see that that's created that CSV file for us. So we can actually go ahead and look at this. So if you look at this, actually see that he created the CSV file. So if you're familiar with CSV formats, just know that this is just the column names. I have my player IDs, the goals scored, all of this data. So it's a bit more structured than what we had in this entire JSON file that we extracted from that API. So this is just a simple scenario how you can do your extract step. So this can scale in any direction. It can get significantly simpler or it can get significantly more complex. It really depends on the particular use case that you have for your extraction step. So this has completed our extract step. So we have successfully made a call to an API. We have been able to read the data in the API and choose the particular data that we want from all the data that we read, converted it to a CSV file. So that's our first part. If you remember our architecture where we said we'll get the data from the API using Python. Our first step is this completed so far. So what's the next step in our process? We actually want to load it to the Google Cloud storage. So this you might ask, what is Google Cloud storage? So if you know a bit about cloud computing, so organizations basically have two options in how they can store and process data. You can store your data on-prem and you can store your data on the cloud. So the on-prem is basically that all your architecture for storing your data is on premises. It's somewhere sitting in your organization, while on cloud, it's somewhere sitting on the cloud. So if my organization was doing on-prem, I'll basically be taking this CSV I have to maybe some folder or some server or just some storage that my company has sitting there in my organization. But in our own case study, our organization is doing, they are working on cloud. So we are going to be taking this data to actually save it to some storage that we have on the cloud. In our case now, we're using Google Cloud Platform. So they offer us a Google storage that we can go and actually read our data to. So I will just try to bring that in our Google Cloud storage. All right. So this is really just an interface of a Google Cloud storage. So if you want to try this on your own, you can always sign up for a free trial account on Google Cloud, and you can do all of these things that we're going to be doing. So it's really, if you go to your Google Cloud, you could really see the cloud storage. So we're clicking on the cloud storage, and when you come to cloud storage, we usually divided into buckets. Buckets are something like how they refer to folders. You can choose to think of them like folders. So we'll create a bucket here, we'll be placing our our CSV file that we just got. So we just creating a bucket. So you really have to walk through a couple of options that you want to use to create this bucket. So basically, I'm doing a demo. And I just want to call it my demo dev bucket. And you have to walk through a couple of options that you want to use to create this bucket. So I'll just set a lot of the default options, and I'm just going to create my bucket. So when this is done, we are going to have so I've created this demo dev bucket. So I just want to and this is where I want to read my data to. So again, we are doing this step with Python, right? So let's go back to our extract. So the next part of it is that we'll be actually our Google Cloud storage. So again, we'll also be using Python to do this part. And the first thing I want to do is, again, in Python, a lot of things that you do about libraries. We're also going to be using a couple of different libraries to help us achieve this step. And in the one we just did, we use the request library to call the API, and then we use the pandas to do some transformation and get the data that we want. So now that we're trying to do the data to GCS, we're also going to be using two libraries. So basically just Google libraries that we'll be using. So the first one is from Google Cloud, you want to import the storage. So this is going to actually give us access to our storage that we just created. The second one, the service account, is you have to have some authentication. Everybody, if you don't have my service account, you can have access to my bucket. So this is just us trying to authenticate ourselves before we can get access to our service. So again, this is just a lot of different Python codes that we'll be using. So again, the next thing we want to do now is that we want to actually initialize some variables. We want to say the name of the buckets. We are sending this file to the actual data the name of the data that we are loading there, and then the source file. So we'll have to go back to our cloud storage and where is our cloud storage? Yeah, so this is our cloud storage now. This is the name of the bucket we just created. So I just want to copy the name of this bucket and then come back. And so my bucket name, I just want to actually make this my bucket name. And then the destination block name, this is basically just what do you want the data sets to be called in that bucket. So if I wanted to have a different name for it, I can just give it a different name, but I just actually want to maintain this name I have. And then the source file is actually this particular file that we want to send to that bucket. So that our source file is. So the next set of variable that we want is that we want to actually, authenticate ourselves and actually load our buckets. So this ones will, so this is, to authenticate yourself. So I have to use some kind of credentials on my service accounts. And I already have a credential, basically just some file that holds my credentials, like my key, my passwords, and all of those things. So that is this key JSON I'm passing to my credentials. And I will just initialize my storage client with those credentials. So I will call my buckets with this code. Again, all these are just Python codes that you will be learning more in detail at a later time. And we just now want to say just actually now want to, the one that performs the actual action is this upload from file that we are calling. So we'll be using this code to send our player files that we extracted straight from our Python environment to our Google Cloud platform, the storage bucket that we created. So I can go ahead and try this. Let's see. So I'm coming this part so it doesn't keep printing all of this. Yeah, so it tells us that our file has been uploaded to the bucket. So we can go back and actually check the bucket to see. So let's just refresh this. Let's refresh this. Let's see if our file has been loaded. Yeah, so we can actually see that our file has been loaded right here. So this is the file that we wanted to move. So we successfully done two parts in our architecture, right? If you remember the architecture that we displayed, we wanted to move wanted to first of all make an API call and extract some data. That part is done. Then we wanted to clean up this data a bit and go bit into the Google Cloud Storage. That part we've done. So if you remember architecture again, the next part now is that we want to actually do some transformations on this data before we load it into BigQuery. And for us to do those transformations, we want to use the Google Cloud Fusion. So again, you might say, what transformations do we want to do? So because this is a very simplified case, right? We probably don't want to do much transformations on this data. But in real data engineering that you're going to be doing, a lot of transformations are going to be happening because you're not going to just be moving one single data. You might be moving data from 3, 4, 5 sources, and you actually want to do some joins, some aggregations, and a lot of things you want to do. So again, Google Cloud offers you some kind of offering, which is Google Cloud Fusion is one of them, where you can actually go do a lot of transformations that you want to do before you actually load your data somewhere. So we just be actually showing my Google Cloud Fusion environment. So this is just an example Cloud Fusion environments. Again, when you are trying this on your own, you can with a free account, you can create a lot of these offerings. You can create the storage accounts, you can create your Cloud Fusion. And then if you come into the Cloud Fusion environment, a lot of offerings that you see here, you can wrangle data, you can integrate data from different sources, some governance on your data, monitor your pipelines, and basically do some management on it. So this is essentially where you're trying to build pipelines that transform your data, where you want to, maybe you want to remove some columns from source data. Maybe you want to calculate some new columns. Maybe you want to, a lot of things that you want to do, you'll be doing them in your Cloud Fusion. So we'll just demonstrate. So we just want to basically use the integrate, because for integrate, you can see it's telling you that you can ingest and integrate data from on-prem in a lot of different sources using these pipelines. So we can just try doing this one. So if we open up our studio, let's see what we get. So again, it gives you this nice canvas where you can begin to actually build what looks like pipelines. So you can see that you have a lot of different sources that you can take data to. So you first of all want to define some sources. Then you have also a lot of offerings for the transformations that you can do. You have a lot of offerings for analytics that you can do. You can do some group buys, do some joins, do some distance on your data. So you could do your sources and your sinks. You can do conditional columns on your data. You can, do some error handling, do some alerts. So these are a lot of some of the offerings that the Fusion offers you. So with this UI, you can do all of these things before you actually load your data into the BigQuery. I'm sure at this point here it's going to come together how all of these things they work. Because ideally, right, we could actually do the transformations right here in the Python environment. But the idea, right, is that we in the organization you're handling big data, very large data that the data is just extracted from the API. It's not that large. I can actually transform it just on my local system. But by the time I work with real life data that I'm handling millions and billions of rows, my local system might not actually be able to handle it. But with all these cloud environments, I can extract a lot of this kind of very big data and actually transform them right in my Cloud Fusion. So for our use case, we basically just want to define the source. So where's our source? Our data is currently in the Google Cloud Storage. As you can see, a lot of different sources that you can get data from. You can get data from your Postgres database, from your SQL Server database, from your Oracle database, a lot of different databases that you can get data from. So from our Amazon S3 storage, but for our use case, we're basically just getting data from our Google Cloud Storage. So we'll just drag this to our canvas. So this is the first thing that we want to do. So we want to actually go in now and configure it. So it lets us do some kind of configurations just to actually define the data that we want to get from our Google Cloud Storage. So I'm basically just using connection and basically just want to see my cloud storage. And I want to look for that particular file that is in my cloud storage. So remember, I put some demo dev buckets. So I want to select that demo dev bucket now. And exactly this is the file I'm looking for. So I want to connect to that file now. So it actually brings in my file, right? And if you notice, if I try to notice that it's not seeing the headers in my file. So this is a common thing when you're bringing data fusion. It doesn't automatically infer the schema. So I probably want to, try to see if it can get the schema. Sometimes it's able to get your schema, sometimes it's not able to get your schema. So again, you can say it's not able to infer our schema. So this is fine. We'll have to, just let me see if I can use first rows as headers. And then try to get the schema again. Yeah, it's actually now able to get our schema now because we've used our first row as headers. So now we can see that our schema data is now actually correct. So a lot of different options that you can pass for all of this, but I will just try to validate and see if this works. So if it validates correctly, we can go ahead. So no errors found. Our validation is fine. So we've done the first part. We've actually done the source. So there are other things that you can do. If I go into transformations, assuming I wanted to do any of these transformations, I can actually I can actually connect to whatever I want to connect. So if I wanted to do some record duplication, if I wanted to do any of this, to wrangle the data in some form, I can always drag any of this into the canvas. If I wanted to do analytics, let's say we want to do a group by, right? So let's just see if we can do a group by. So if you notice, the data that we read was data for each player, right? And the scores they had in a particular game week. So by the time we actually run this stuff for let's say the beginning of the season till like the end of the season, I want to do a group by so that we get like their total score. because every player scores gets a score in each week. So you might want to, group by a player and then actually sum up all their scores. So assuming you wanted to do something like that, we can just connect a group by to this. So I can just link the source to this and actually also try to configure the properties. So I can just say I want to group by player ID, for instance, and then I want to the aggregate I want to get aggregate on the total points. And I also want to, it's just the sum I want, right? I want the sum, and I can just call this their season score. So, this is just a sample aggregation I want to do. I'll try to validate and see if this works. So again, I validate and see that it's fine, no errors. So that's about that. So the next part is really just actually putting a sink. The sink is basically, there's a source and the sink. The source is where my data is coming from. The sink is where I'm loading that data to. So in your pipelines you're building in Fusion, the beginning is always the source, and then the end is always the sink. So I have the BigQuery as my sink. So between the source and the sink, there can be uncountable number of transformations. So from here, I could want to do a duplication first. Maybe I wanted to do remove duplicates before I do a group by. Let's say I wanted to do a join, so I can have any number of transformations. Have any number of transformations I do in between before I actually go to my source. But the two major ones you must always have is you must have your source and you must have your sink. So for my case, I'm not really using any of those two. I'm just doing one particular transformation, doing a group by, and I'm actually going to connect it to my BigQuery. So the last part of this will be to also configure my connections to my BigQuery. So we'll go into properties. You try to actually same again, use your connection. So I'll bring in my BigQuery environment. So right here now is my BigQuery environment. So here we basically want to try to actually create a data set and then create a table. Table is where we are going to actually load this data that we are bringing it, so that when we run our pipeline in Cloud Fusion, we will actually be able to see that data set.
All right, Chu, are you still there? Okay. Hello, Chu, are you still there? All right. So I think I'm going to take things back up from here. So sincere apologies for the audio on that session, but please take your time to fill in the attendance form, and the recording of the session is going to be sent to you. Meanwhile, don't forget I mentioned that you're going to have International Women's Day discount going out to the women on this call, and for the men also to share with the women in their lives. So I'm going to go back to share my screen now, and just run through the rest of the presentation, show you some of our success stories, and of course, share with you the discount. All right, so just let me know if you can see my screen. 1 second. All right. First, if you can still hear me on this call, please type in a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me loud and clear, please type in a 1 in the chat, and I'll be glad to continue this session. Awesome. All right, Oluwafemi, thank you. Jefferson, Jonathan, thank you very much. All right, so I'm just, thank you very much. So I'm just going to run through the rest of the presentation quickly, and then share with you the discount that I have for, like I said, is the International Women's Month. So we have a discount for the women, but for the men also that are on this call, you have a discount that you can also share with the women in your life. Basically, though this session is about data engineering, but I can tell you categorically, we have a host of other tech-related programs or career paths that you can follow through this year, this year 2024. And some of them are business analysis, data analytics, financial analytics, HR analytics, full stack data science, Scrum Master, data engineering that you just see now, and then cyber security. So let me just quickly show you a few of testimonials about some of our students and how you can also have a success story like this one. This is Tony. She landed a job as a business analyst with the NHS UK just after a month of training with us. We have Tosin here also is a fraud analyst in the UK. He also talked about how our mentorship and interview prep helped him to get his job. And Binga here was in Nigeria, but before he left for Canada, he reached out to us to learn business data analysis, and then he was able to get a job just a few months after landing in Canada. Binga here is a business data analyst in Poland. He's been unemployed for over 2 years in Poland until he found out about analytics, and we're able to structure his learning program such that he's able to get a job just right after finishing the program with us. Before I proceed, I'd like to play the video of one of our participants. This is Abigail. She has a very interesting story to tell about how we helped her transition from being a care worker in Canada to a business analyst. How our mentorship and project-based classes helped her to transition into that role. And this is something she's actually doing for the first time. So I'm going to just give me a few minutes. This is to make up for the bad audio in the previous session, for you to just listen to Abigail and hear what she has to say about our programs and how it's helped transition our life. Sorry about this one.
How it has helped me to ace my.
If you can hear the sound, please type a 1 in the chat, please.
Land that dream job that we, always.
I can hear it.
Awesome.
My training with Analytics has transformed my career as a business analyst. They have coached me really well, thoroughly, with hands-on projects, and the instructors are usually super awesome. Topics that are covered are usually real-life experience with a hands-on project where you do as a team, where you do as individual. There's always a one-on-one session if you want. Interview preparation, they use real-life experience. They coach you on interview, and they tell you what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong, and where you need to improve and where you are perfect, and all of that. I'm recommending Analytics to all my friends, to anyone watching this video. Please don't think about it twice when you just try and attend one of the sessions. It will open your mind. It will give you more ideas on what it is all about. Don't be scared. it was working with analytics that gave me the confidence to apply for some job roles that I naturally wouldn't apply, because I feel those job roles are usually too big for me. Like, the name sounds so big, and analytics makes me understand that you can do it as a business analyst. We all got the idea. So I am 100% recommending Analytics to anyone that has thought about being a business analyst, a data analyst, or all the analysts that they coach you on. You won't have regret in it. You will come to thank me later. I am happy I joined Analytics. They help you develop your user stories on how to use scenario, on how to use real life experience to answer your interview questions, which is usually what helps you to ace your interview. I am so happy I joined Analytics, and I wouldn't have been where I am today without the coaching and help of Analytics. I personally would want to thank the coordinator. He's very good at doing his job. His name is Ubong. Please disturb Ubong on everything you need. Like, he's always there 100%. Any time of the day you call him, he picks. It doesn't matter. He's sleeping 2 a.m., 1 a.m. I am really, really recommending Analytics. So guys, join Analytics and you won't regret it. And Analytics, I personally want to thank you for training me, for building my confidence, and for helping me to understand that there's a BA in every one of us. Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right, so we have a host of other testimonials here. You can always search Analytics on YouTube and check out a lot of, we have over 100 testimonials, and we upload them daily. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a plethora of testimonials that from students who have enjoyed our program, and you'd be glad to join to be one of us also. So another interesting I need to mention is you can actually learn all of these programs anywhere, but then there is the extra effort, the extra employability services that Analytics brings into your learning, which is able to make someone like Abigail, who is a care worker, to become a business data analyst. And the interesting thing about her story is the fact that she's transitioning into that role for the first time, but then she had 2 people reporting to her. I want you to think about that for a second. Let it sink in. This is someone who hasn't been in tech at all. She joined our program, and after 4 months of training, serious training, and all the employability services that follow up to that, she's able to get a job in Edmonton as a business analyst and have 2 people reporting to her. Yeah, because there is also a lot of things we do aside your training, you like the CV review and all of that, where we're able to blend in your past experience into the new tech role that you are joining, and that way it positions you as a leader, not a learner. Yeah, so that is why someone like Abigail can leave a care job to become a business analyst and leading 2 teams. Leading 2 team members almost immediately. So let me show you a bit more about what the data engineering role at Analytics looks like, and what you'll be learning. What's the average salary for a data engineer in the UK, US, and Canada, and also the training time for data engineering. So like I mentioned before, I've given you the analogy of a plumber, how we use that to analyze and to relate to a data engineer, how it gets. You see what Chu just did a few minutes ago. He was able to dig out data from somewhere, was able to transform that data, then move it into BigQuery, where the data analyst and the data engineers, data scientists can now pull out that data and use it to make their decisions, use it to make their presentations that they share with the stakeholders, both technical and non-technical stakeholders. So data engineer like Shu that you just saw is responsible for designing, constructing, and maintaining infrastructure, including databases and large-scale processing systems that allow for storage and retrieval of data. So what he has done, what you has done so far, is been able to pull out data from a random site, and again, now move that data, transform it, clean it, make it look how he wants it to look, then pull it into a BigQuery database where he can now use that and pass that along to data analysts and what have you, data analysts, data scientists, to make informed decisions. So what he did was to extract the data, he transformed it, really like sort of like cleaned it, then he now loaded it into a database for the process of analytics. So that's basically what a data engineer's job is. So the average salary for a data engineer in the UK is about £50,000. In Canada, about £94,000. In the US, over £121,000. And these are very highly sought out skills in these 3 regions across Europe and also some other parts of America also. So the key learning areas, these key learning areas are structured such that when you're learning each of these modules, you are working on projects. So she was taking us through a fantasy football Premier League, a fantasy league, using that data to transform, extract that data, transform and load it. So when you're learning introduction to data engineering, SQL, Python, Linux, Apache Spark, Apache Web, everything you'll be learning on this in this key learning area is going to be project-based. That way it sticks. That's a learning methodology that helps you stick to what you learn and helps it stay deep-rooted inside you. So our approach is we're not just teaching you like define Linux or define Python programming. You actually do a project in class that helps you to be able to learn fast, at the same time catch up on how to use these things to solve problems and to be able to do a job with it and not just know it for the sake of it. And that is where the mentorship comes in. It is easy for anybody to go online and search for how to be a data engineer. You will see YouTube videos, you will see online courses and the likes, but then the mentorship is what is missing, and that is what we bring to you at Analytics. The mentorship is where we now help you learn what you need to learn to land a job. If you get left alone, it's easy for you to get lost in terms of learning this, learning that, learning this. When you're learning this, you see a link to another article, you go there, you see another thing, you get lost in learning. But then with proper mentorship, you're able to select what you actually need to do a day-to-day job as a data engineer. So that is where Analytics comes in. So we carefully select our key learning areas for you to be able to, after the 5 months program, to be able to stand alone as a seasoned data engineer. So it's a 5 months program where you do 3 months of active learning. For 3 months, you attend classes on Saturdays. Sundays, you get videos, you call them watch me do videos. This video prepare you for the coming class. So for instance, on the first Saturday now, you learn introduction to data engineering, where you have a facilitator come to class and teach you what you need to know. On Sunday, you get the recording of that first class, which is introduction to data engineering. You get that video alongside a watch me video for SQL. So you are going to follow through on that video, preparing you for the next class. So that way you're able to catch up. For slow learners, fast learners, whoever you are, you're able to drag everybody along. And during the week also, mind you, there are drop-in sessions where if there is anything you missed out in class, anything you don't understand, these drop-in sessions is between you, your coordinators, your facilitators, where you can now ask questions. You can also ask your colleagues to be there to answer some of these questions, and everybody carries everybody along. We are intentional about this, so such that everybody is carried along and no one is left behind in the learning process. So, like I said, we have a lot of testimonials on our YouTube, a lot of success stories. In 2023 only, we've helped over 850 people. 850 people transition from our classroom to their first job in tech. So these are not people that are probably data scientists somewhere before or data engineers somewhere before, and they're coming to our classes, then they got a job. No, these are people that they don't have any prior experience in tech, and they went from our classrooms to their first career in tech, their first job in tech. This is to prove to you that our process, our model actually works. And this is just last year, 850 plus people. In the past 3 years, in the past 3-4 years, I was started in 2020, we've had over 2,000 people that have run through our program as newbies, as fresh graduates, or professionals who are transitioning and then going on to become tech professionals. So let me show you a brief information again about how we do this. Just to reiterate on all I've said before, I'm not going to take too much of your time. How we do this and how it works for us. First, our curriculums are up to date. Just to chip this in, Chu is actually a professional working day to day. On weekend is when it comes to take classes. There is a clash at this job in terms of what he's doing. We even thought he wouldn't be able to make this session, but he just had to call me because he already devoted time. So he had to balance between finishing what he's doing at work and then helping us. So my point is, these are professionals who are doing day-to-day data engineering, day-to-day data science job. So their curriculum, they are bringing directly what they are doing on their day-to-day to class to teach you. So our curriculums are always up to date. 2 years ago, if you're learning data analytics, you probably wouldn't do anything related to ChatGPT. But then ChatGPT is AI is the in thing now. So definitely our curriculum is updated such that you're going out there as a data analyst who knows how to use AI to balance their work and get better at it. You will definitely be better than someone who has been a data analyst for years but doesn't know how to use ChatGPT, meaning our curriculums are updated. Then, of course, like I said, industry experts with hands-on experience. One of them is Chu that you just met. Industry is an industry expert working in one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. He has the hands-on experience. He's a well-sought-after data engineer in a day-to-day activity. And of course, our training programs are blended to accommodate everyone. I mentioned that briefly. You learn something on Saturday. On Sunday, you get a video that prepares you for the coming week. You get another video on the Sunday that prepares you for until you go through all your courses. And of course, you have drop-in sessions during the week where you ask questions and then learn more or have some clarity before the coming class. That way, everybody is carried along. Yeah. Then, of course, we have the additional employability services. I'm going to speak more about that shortly. Then the internship program. What's the use of the knowledge that you have if you don't get to put it into practice? So like for a data engineer now, after 3 months of learning, you get 2 months of internship. Internship meaning you do real life jobs, you report to a boss, you get feedback on what you've done. So all of that you add to your portfolio. So when you're talking to the HR manager or the HR personnel, in your new role, you are telling them what you know, also showing them what you can do. So that's the advantage of the internship program that we offer at Analytics. So all of this makes you prepare you as a tech professional, gets you ready in no time. Now, let me move quickly to the employability services that I said we also offer. These are the addition. This is what we pride ourselves that you don't get elsewhere. In terms of tech training. Tech training, like you said, is open to everybody. You can go online to learn and all of that. But then the additional services that we apply, that we offer, our approach to this is what makes us very successful. So I'll start from the first level of additional employability services that we add to our training, yeah, that makes us successful in transitioning people within such a short period of time into their first career in tech. So the first one here is a CV review. Like I said, we're able to help you merge your CV from wherever you've been, from whatever role you've had in the past. Imagine how a lawyer is able to get a job as a business analyst, yeah? Because we're able to help him merge his CV from whatever it is he has been doing in law into the role of a business analyst. We're able to merge whatever it is you've been doing as an accountant into your new role as a data engineer. So there's that CV review session that happens and helps you to update your CV. And one of the important things about the CV review is because there are applicant tracking systems that most companies use, such that if they put out a job there, a new opportunity, job role there, and you submit your CV, if your CV doesn't carry certain keywords that is related to the role, you'll definitely be screened out by the software. Yeah, it is those that are left that now gets to the human, meaning the HR manager, who will now look through them, now check your portfolio and match it with your CV before they call you for an interview. So the CV review session is able to help you align your career path from the past into what you're looking for in the future, and also help you put certain keywords that help you scale through this applicant tracking system. Also, the LinkedIn optimization. Everybody here has some sort of social media account, but then the LinkedIn is something that most professionals are not looking, is the world's largest database of professionals. But a lot of professionals don't have their profile well suited. It is easy for HR professionals to actually search for you on LinkedIn and find you as a professional. But then how do you optimize your LinkedIn account such that this is able to happen? So these are some of the things that comes with training at Analytics. Third is Upwork. If you're interested in doing short-time gigs, 3 months, 6-month gigs on Upwork, you're able to optimize your account also, such that it's easy for people who are looking for short-term contractors can easily find you. The next here is navigating the job market. If you're in the UK, the US or Canada, or even in Africa, how do you navigate the job market is actually different. How you put your CV, how you send your cover letter and stuff like that. What are the job sites that you need to go out and apply for jobs, depending on your geographical location. We show you how to do all of that in navigating the job market. Then, of course, when you eventually get invites to interviews, yeah, we also give you the opportunity to actually have an interview prep with our facilitators. So the advantage of this is to give you that confidence, yeah, to now face the potential employer. Now, imagine you coming into tech for the first time. It might be hard for you to, there's this imposter syndrome that affects almost everybody. It might be hard for you to be able to speak up for yourself and tell them confidently what you can do. But then we're able to help reduce that by giving you that first-hand prep. Yeah. So when you get a job interview or a job invite, we'll ask you to come to, we book an interview session with Analytics, with our facilitators. They're going to prep you, ask you the potential questions that the employer is going to ask you. So that interview prep is also one key factor that will bring into our training program that sets us apart from the rest. Then, of course, the recommendation letter. So for someone who just transitioned into tech, with the internship you do with us, we're able to offer you a recommendation letter telling your potential employer that, okay, we can vouch for this person. They actually know what they're doing. They can actually do the job, So that reference letter. So imagine someone who's been doing law all their life, and then they transition into business analysis or data engineering for the past 5-6 months. Someone would want to say, okay, you say you can do this much in 6 months. You are already saying good things about yourself. You've shown a portfolio that shows what you can do. Now, can someone get you a recommendation letter to say, okay, this person actually can do all of this? So we're able to provide this for you at Analytics. And this is something Coursera will give you, or Udemy wouldn't give you. So on the second layer now is a weekly mentorship session. So we bring tech professionals, people who have gone through this part themselves, past students, alumni of Analytics. Every week they come to actually teach you more about what their path is like, understand where you are, letting you know they've been there before. And all of these mentorship sessions is what gives you that confidence, builds you up fast to be able to compete in the tech job market. Then finally is all the job support. So when you eventually get the job, it's hard for you to get a good grasp of everything at once. Yeah, if there's anything that looks new to you, you can always come back to Analytics, and we'll be able to give you that on the job support as much as you need till you get your feet firm on the ground. So all of this mesh together, yeah, giving you the training program, having all of these additional employability services infused into your learning, and your own commitment, we are able to assure you that within your first month, you are guaranteed for a job interview within your first month of completing a training with us. So there is a two-way to this, yes. There is a way of giving your training, selecting your training with proper mentorship, giving you all of these employability services. And on your own end is first you bring your laptop, your internet, and then your dedication to it, and being able to follow through on all of this. Imagine you trying to switch your career, change your life within 6 months, yeah? So all of this, yeah, is what you're able to bring to you, and you playing your own part also, and you can be assured of your transition into tech in no time. So like I mentioned before, all of what I mentioned is in 2023. Now in 2024, we have additional employability services, which is the mentorship, body mentorship of the mentorship sessions that I mentioned. First, we bring professionals from the industry to speak with our potential students. But this year now, some of our students who have gone through the program, they feel they need to give back to act as a support system for those who are just learning, who are just jumping into the program themselves also. So basically, this body mentorship hub is where you now talk to people like Abigail who come and speak with you. Other students that you see on our testimonial list, they come back and then they also give you some sort of mentorship and help you move along. Also, the internship program is also enhanced. For instance, for data engineering, for those who are interested in data engineering program and business analysis, you actually get 2 months of internship instead of 1 for other programs. Then finally is the fact that we are also partnering with recruitment agencies in UK, Canada, US, such that most of our students, after the training program, they are able to quickly move into they're able to quickly get their first interview once they finish the program. Now, to join the next cohort, like I mentioned, now this is the best part for all the women who are still here. So if you are a woman, I would really appreciate you. We welcome you once again. There is a scholarship that we are offering women. We started this last year, and we are doing the same for another set of women this year. We did for 300 women last year. This year, we are doing for 300 women and 50 men. So what you need to do is register your intention to be eligible for the scholarship. At the same time, also, once you register, first, let me just mention, this is the article about the scholarship from last year. You can check on this when you get this, when you get this slide and read about the article on Punch newspaper, the one we did last year. So this year again, we are going for 300 women and then 50 men. These 50 men are going to be working on projects that talks about women inclusion in tech. So for the first 300 women who are going to take advantage of this program, we have a discount for them. Yeah. So ideally, our programs go for $750 in US dollars, 1,050 Canadian dollars, and 625 pounds. But we are slashing this by 50% for 300 women and 50 men. Yeah. These are the programs that are listed for these prices. Yeah. If you want, you can also make your payment quickly on this spot because the program runs for the rest of this month. But then once we are able to get the first 300 women and the first 50 men, because of how our training programs are designed, that we need to carry everybody along, our classes, slots in the classes are actually limited. So this is what we can take per cohort. So for the April cohort, first 300 women, first 50 men, we already have close to 50 already slots already taken. So for the remaining slots, I would advise that you take advantage of the discount that we have now, 50% discount, take advantage of the scholarship. For the women, I think the men should let the women take all of this first, and what's left, they can manage. We want to promote a lot of women inclusion in tech, and that's what we are all about. For the rest of the year, the men can come in and do their thing, but for this month, this cohort, April cohort, we want to bring as many women as possible into the tech ecosystem, from data engineering, data analytics, business analysis, HR analysis, financial analytics, data science, and the likes. So if you're also, they also have the Scrum Master program, and that's for $450, or you can pay to $25 as the discount, as a 50% discount. So to make payments is quite easy. Yeah. So depending on your location, when you click on this link, my colleagues are going to share this link with you in the chat. Just fill the form. Sorry, there is a form that shows for you for the International Women's Day program for your eligibility. At the same time, once you fill that, then you can click on this link. When you click on this link, it takes you to where you can make payments. So I'm going to just run through the payment link now to show you how to make your payment and secure your spot as quickly as you can. Like I said, 50% on discount. We already have some of the slots filled, and for as many people that can take advantage of that on this call now, please go ahead and do so. So I'm just going to click on this now and show you how to make payment, depending on your location. So once I click on the main start link, it brings me here. So one thing important thing to note here is you're going to be uploading your payment receipt once you make payment. Yeah, just so you see, this is what the payment looks like before now. But for this special scholarship, for the International Women's Day Scholarship, you pay 50%. You are going to come here to upload your receipt once you made your payment. But to make the payment, yeah, once you click on the link and you get here, click on Visit Store. So, because I'm presently in Lagos, Nigeria, all the prices here shows in Naira. Yeah, but depending on your location, it's going to show for your currency so that you can easily make payments. So for instance, I want to pay for data engineering. It's already set at this price because of the discount that's already on it. Yeah, so all you have to do is to just change this from 900, which is the original price, and put the 450, which is a discount price, and then you click on reserve a seat. So once you get to this page, you can type in your name. I'll type in mine, Olawale. Olawale. Then type in my email. Then add my phone number. Once I do that, then I click on proceed. So once I click proceed, then it automatically loads up the payment provider. So here you can pay with your card. You can do a transfer to this bank account. Also, there are other payments you can pay directly from your bank using your bank. Choose your bank from here. We have a list of options here. Then USSD also. Well, I advise you use a card or the bank transfer. And once you make the payment, immediately you make the payment, take a screenshot of your payment. Then you now come to this, back to this original link, and then click on upload your payment receipt. So once you now get here, this is where you now register for the April cohort. Here, you now enter your email again. Enter your email, enter the payment you made, which is a full payment, one-time full payment. Next, then you go on to enter your name, enter your gender, your registration email, and other things like that. Then you get to the point where you upload a screenshot of your payment. So that's basically how to make your payment and confirm your registration for the April cohort. There's also a caveat to this. Like I mentioned, the 50 men that we are hoping to take on this cohort, they are going to be writing projects related to women inclusion in tech. That's one of the conditions for your eligibility as a man on this scholarship. So again, I'll leave this on the screen for you to make your payment as quickly as you can. Check the chat. My colleagues on the call will be sharing this link with you for you to make your payment. Once you make your payment, upload it, then fill in the form for the IWD scholarship, because there is a special certificate that goes in for people who fill in that form and register eventually as students. So if you have any questions at this point as regards the programs, as regards making payment, please, you can use the chat, or you use the raise hand icon, and then I'll be happy to answer your question. Okay, Ofrey J, please go ahead and ask your question. Okay, while I wait for your question in the chat, Mariana, is there a physical center for those in Lagos? So it's not, everything is done remotely, yeah? So all you need is a quiet place in your house, your internet, your laptop, and your full attention and focus. So everything is going to be done online. The classes hold on Saturday for people in the GMT time zone, and then of course the North America time zone later in the day. Yeah, so you can choose to be in that morning class, which is between 11 and 2 p.m., or you be in the evening class from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. So there's no physical location. The only location is your location, and then your good internet, your dedication to what you want to do, and that's it. I hope I'm able to answer your question, Mariana. So I'm scrolling through the chat for any other questions. Obina, I believe you've met before, but then I'll let you speak. Let me get the mic. So can you please unmute Obina and let him? All right, Obina, I've asked you to unmute. Can you please go?
Hi. Good evening, Olawale. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
We meet again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, please. Just something went to my mind. On Sunday that I joined for the first meeting, I actually made payment that, but I was kind of in a hurry. I did not use the visit store, whatever, because I didn't know how many people were online, and I didn't want to miss the opportunity to.
All right.
So I don't know if you can like check on your system to know if my payment fell under the category of the scholarship category or is on the full term at this time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Obina. So since you were on the last call, we started the program from the last call. It became officially announced this week. But since you were there on the last one, I believe you should be confirmed for the scholarship. So I'm going to find your data on our systems, get your email, and shoot you an email personally to confirm that with you. I hope that's fine, Obina. All right. Okay, iPhone has its hand up. Okay. I was just trying to unmute you, but I think you dropped off. So if you have any questions, please use the raise hand icon. And I'll be happy to answer your question. Okay, iPhone. iPhone, I'm asking you to unmute now.
Thank you for the presentation. Please, with the price or the amount I'm seeing on the screen here, I just want to understand. I saw full amount and this kind of amount. Has this can be deducted already or what? Or we have to deduct it and get it? For instance, for data engineering, I saw 625, and then this kind of amount happened to be 312.50. Yes. So if you want to enroll for data engineering now, so is the amount that we are going to pay is going to be 300 and something, or is 625?
So this is the full 625 is the full payment. But for the April cohort and for you to enjoy the International Women's Day Scholarship, you can pay 312.50, which is 50% of this. Yes.
So is there a code for that? Because I tried to check online now. So by this saw something like a 600 and something.
So just clear out what you see there and type in the amount here, 312.50.
All right, okay, understand. Yes. Thank you for the response.
You're welcome. All right, I'm still open to answer a few more questions before we call it a night or we call it a day, depending on where you are. So Omotola is asking, what's the difference between data science and engineering? Okay, so let me just give you an analogy. A data engineer, like I've said is like a plumber, yeah? The data engineer goes to dig a borehole, yeah? Pulls out water from it, lays the pipeline that moves the water into like a reservoir, a tank, then lays the pipeline from the tank also again to different taps in the house, from the bathroom for people to now use the water. Now, a data scientist is someone like a mom in the house that wants to cook food and needs water, yeah? So they now go to the tap and just open the tap and get that water to be able to do whatever it is they need to do. So there is one person who lays the pipe, and that's all it does. Make sure the data is readily available for you. Now, a data scientist is now someone who now takes that data, yeah, and use that data to do awesome stuff. A data analyst, for instance, does basically describing what the data looks like and able to diagnose diagnose problems using that data. But the data scientist does this too, then takes a step further by doing some predictive analysis using data. So they can look at the data again as a data science and build models to be able to predict what could happen. Data scientists are people that are able to do things like able to do weather forecasts. Yeah, that is what data science can do. Data science is where you are able to predict and say, okay, based on the data that I have, based on what we have sold in our company in the past 3, 4, 5 years, I can tell you that this is what the next 4, 5 years is going to look like. You're able to predict into the future, do some level of forecast using data. So that's a data scientist. And then the data engineer is who gets that data, puts it in a good place for the data scientists to be able to use. I hope I'm able to make some clarity into that, Omotola. However, if you still need more clarity, yeah, just make sure you secure your spot first for the class. So when you're uploading your receipt, just do not select a course yet. Do not select a program. You see all our 8 programs and 9 programs there. Do not select anyone. Just select, I want to speak with a professional. Yeah. Once you select that you want to speak with a professional, then you would attend a clarity session. You'll be invited to a clarity session that happens on Tuesdays. Yeah. So that clarity session, you're able to ask questions, talk to a professional, would learn more about your background, where you're coming from, and how this program could be beneficial to you. All right. What's the difference between a statistician and a data analyst? So statistics and statisticians, they do things related more to data science, while there's a data analyst. Like I mentioned briefly for Omotola now, data analysts majorly, they look at the data, able to describe the data, telling you, okay, this is okay, let me using my water pump and all of that analogy. The data analyst can be able to say, look at this water, this is Lekki water. For people who know Lekki, you know what Lekki water looks like. This is Lekki water and this is mainland water. Yeah, they're able to describe data. Yeah, and then they're able to diagnose. And they go, okay, looking at this mainland water, it looks clean, but then it has this, has that, has this, has that. This Lekki water looks brown, but then it has this. They're able to diagnose. Yeah, but then the data scientists now can be able to tell you that, okay, this, can I use this water analogy? They are able to predict into the future, yeah, in terms of the kind of data that they have. They're able to do some level of forecast, and that is more related to what statisticians do. Yeah, you need a level of statistics to be able to do data science. So instead of saying a difference between a statistician and data analyst, it would be more like a data scientist and a data analyst, because data scientists will be doing a lot of statistics as a bedrock for their data science and their modeling and all of that awesome stuff that they do in data science. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, Ayoda. Is it my network that is breaking, or is Ayoda who didn't? Let me just check a few people who has their hands raised, and then I'll come back to your question. iPhone, I believe you've spoken before. I have free. Let me just take iPhone first. iPhone, okay, you've spoken before. Ayoda, I'm going to come to you shortly. Ofrey, Jay, can you please unmute yourself and speak? Ofrey, are you there?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ofrey.
All right, good evening, everybody. I just want to get verification. From what I'm seeing from your screen, your slides, for data engineering, basically that's where I want to really concentrate on for now. So I want to know your hello?
Yeah, there is some noise in your background.
Okay, my car broke down, so I'm just trying to, I'm not in the house.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, go ahead, I think I'll manage.
Okay, so I really want to get clarification on the pricing. You are talking of discounts of, is it for data engineering?
Yeah, the discount is actually for all the programs that you see here. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
450 Naira.
Yes.
Then my question now is, can I make a first instrumental payment for that 450? Then 1 month into the program, I balance off.
Okay, so this is supposed to be a one-time payment, yes, but then you can actually chat with one of my colleagues on the call, and then we'll see what we can do to assist around that.
That would be awesome. Can I get the number? How do I?
Okay, so someone is going to reach you on the call now. They're going to chat you up. Did you fill your attendance form, please?
Yes, I did.
Did you also fill the form for the IWD registration?
No, I didn't. I didn't fill that. I just filled the attendance form.
Okay, please fill that. Then what's the name you have there? I can track you myself and then send you a message later.
Okay, Offrey Jeremiah.
Offrey Jeremiah. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to reach out to you shortly to see how we can help you out.
Okay, no problem. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Omotola. Okay. So you know what you do, Omotola? You can actually just select one program for now. Maybe select a data science. Then you still get an invite to that clarity session. So on that clarity session, we can still help you switch before the cohort begins in April. Yeah. So if you make the payment now, by next Tuesday for the clarity session, you attend. Then we can talk more about what you have chosen. If you need to switch, then we can switch it for you right there and then. Yeah. But at the same time, I think one of my colleagues is already sending you, asking for your email. So he can help you, he can chat you up and help you with all of that. Is it possible, Ayonda, you have a question. Okay, is it possible to do data engineering, data science, and analysis? So I'd advise you, Ayonda, to take it one step at a time. Yeah, so the usual flow is you start with data analytics, yeah, then delve into data science, then you go into data engineering. Yeah, that way you have a full stretch of the whole data ecosystem. Yeah, but then doing everything at the same time all together, I think is what we are trying to avoid at analytics. Meaning it's easy for you to say you want to do this, but do the one that will get you the job as quickly as possible. Yeah. Be the one that pays the bills. Yeah. So while you are doing that, you can now develop yourself. You can now say, okay, I'm done with describing data. I'm done with diagnosing data. Now I want to be able to predict with data. I want to be able to forecast with data. Then you move to data science. Then you can also say at some point, you now say, okay, now I know what to do with data, but I want to be able to source data, transform it. I want to be able to build data pipelines. We want to build ETL pipelines like our facilitator, the Chu did. Then you can go into data engineering. That way you have a full stretch. So if you are looking for data analysts, you are there. Looking for data scientists, you are there. Looking for data engineer, but that's a stretch, and it takes a lot of dedication and time to be able to cover that stretch. Yeah, but for the good start with the basics, the data analytics, then you can move on from there. So I wouldn't advise you take all three at the same time. Take one and move gradually from there. All right. I hope that's fine, Ayada. All right. Do we have any more questions or any more clarity as regards to making payments? And then I can be able to answer your questions before we call it, before we close the curtains. Let me check the participants. If anyone has their hands raised. So like I said, scholarship is supposed to run for the rest of the month. But at the same time, once you're able to fill up the first 300 women and the first 50 men, then we're going to close it. If that happens tonight, then that's it. If it happens tomorrow, then that's it. If it's stretched to the end of the month, then you'll be lucky to. But then we'll advise you take advantage, and because we've not started promoting this big time. We're starting promotions this week, and once the noise gets louder out there, you might have your spot taken up by someone else. So you're lucky to be on this call. I really appreciate your time to this moment. For those who are still on the call, it takes a lot of dedication to be here, and we do not take it for granted. So why don't you just take advantage of this and make your payments quickly to join us in the April cohort. So I am still asking, which one of the three is on demand? All three are on demand, trust me. All three are on demand. They are carefully selected. All the programs that you see here, they are carefully selected programs that are high demand, high paying jobs. So there is no case of one being on demand more than the other. I was going through the World Economic Forum data the other time. Something you can also look at yourself once you get a copy of this presentation. Look at the jobs that are on demand. All these programs that we listed here, they are programs that lead you to jobs that are actually on demand. Data analytics, data engineering, data science. But I understand if you are feeling skeptical about which one to choose, like I said, make your payments, secure your spot, join a clarity session, you speak to a professional, learn more about you, learn about your background, where you're coming from. And that way, by the time we go through that conversation, by yourself, you will decide and say, okay, this is what I want to do. Yeah. But as regards to which is on demand, every course that you see here, every program that we have put here, we have carefully selected them. There are programs that are high demand, they are on demand, and you shouldn't waste time about any one of them. And of course, also they are low code, meaning you don't have to write so many code, unlike if you were like a software developer and the likes, or mobile app developer and the likes, where you write a lot of code. But these are tech careers, highly profitable, high demand, but then you don't have to write so many codes. So the barrier into entry into tech from here is actually very low and good and easy for beginners. All right, I don't know if I still have any more questions to answer. All right, Another. No, you have a BSc statistics. Awesome. All right, so just make your payments. I'd advise that you probably select data science for a start. Then when you join the clarity session, if you need to change it, then we can help you do that also. All right. All right, so if there are no more questions, I think this is where we close the curtains. If you have any questions or any clarity, you can always send us an email at inquiries@10analytics.org. You go to our website, you see the icon, the WhatsApp icon. Just click on that also to chat with our reps, and then they'll be able to answer any questions that you have. Also, if you need to talk to me directly, also, my LinkedIn profile is on this presentation slide. You can always shoot me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. So if there are no more questions, there are no more complaints or any feedback or any inquiries you need to answer, then I think this is where we close the curtains. I will call it a night. Thank you, everyone. And once again, take advantage of the discount. It's for a limited time. And then I'll see you in the April class. All right? Thank you very much. Good night, good morning, good evening. Bye.